How do I prevent read more www.site.com from being injected with non-Tynt JavaScript into copy-paste actions? There are many sites that insert something like read more www.site.com into your clipboard when you copy text in your browser. I find this abominable. A Google search reveals some methods to stop this if the website happens to be using the service Tynt, by just blocking the Tynt domain, but many websites use homegrown JavaScript. Is there a general way to block this behavior besides just turning off JavaScript? I use Chrome, but I am interested in all solutions. To be clear, I want to be able to keep the rest of the JavaScript functionality for these websites, since many will break without it. Here are 2 example websites which continue to harass me despite my use of a Tynt blocker: Marginal Revolution, The Fiscal Times. Here are 2 Stack Overflow questions and 2 blog posts which explain ways to implement this shady practice manually without Tynt. Here is a blog post describing how hard this turns out to be to block reliably. Here is the most recent discussion I could find, March 2013, which offers suggestions on how to block this in Chrome using AdBlock, but it didn't work for me.
The site adding the annoying read more stuff is ShareThese. To prevent this bad behavior, you have 3 different alternatives. Disable the clipboard events. These websites are using the clipboard APIS, which allows web developers to intercept the copy/cut/paste actions and execute some code when they are performed. This is how ShareThese, and other websites like that, works. It simply waits for the copy event, and right before the effective copy is performed it adds an additional layer of text which contains the annoying C. Now the question is there any kind of method to disable the clipboard events? Unfortunately, I have not been able to find a method to do this in Chrome/Chromium, but in Firefox it's possible in 2 different ways. Go in, About column config, and search for dom.event.clipboardevents.enabled. Double-click on the key, set it to false, and voila! You have disabled the clipboard events and no one will touch your clipboard again. For older versions of Firefox, really older, there is this extension which does the exact same thing of the About column config option. Disabling clipboard events should not damage the experience of any website since they are rarely used and there isn't really a purpose to use them, other than spamming. Let's head over to the second solution. Block ShareThese. If you don't need ShareThese, you can simply block the w.sharethese.com domain. The JavaScript responsible for loading ShareThese and registering the clipboard event is loaded from that website. You may block it in different ways, ranging from a simple AdBlock filter to editing your host file. This is not covered nor linked here since I can't put more links due to my reputation. An example of doing that via the host file. The third solution is the hardest one and it should be used only as a last resort. Disable the selection feature on the problematic websites. To edit the content which is copied to the clipboard, these websites use the selection API which allows them to edit selections on the fly. So, a solution is to completely disable any kind of selection. On the code side, obviously, you will still be able to perform selections. This can be done with a simple TemperMonkey or GreaseMonkey script. I tested it only on Firefox since I can't install Chrome right now. I'm sorry for that. This is the source code. To let this work, you should create a new GreaseMonkey or TemperMonkey script and adjust the add include directives. You can put one website per line, and it has to be done like, add include http://bad.website.address/. I tested it with both the websites you have linked and it works with no problems. However, keep in mind that this may cause problems since selections are used by perfectly legit websites. For example, Stack and NBSB, Exchange text boxes use them to insert a symbol, when you click on the button, to the position of your caret, so you should enable that user script only on problematic websites. Note that you may need to remove the lines starting with // if you are creating the user script from the GreaseMonkey or TemperMonkey menus, they will automatically add it. The explanation of the user script is pretty simple. First, it defines a function named disableSelections which replaces the default document.getSelection and window.getSelection functions with one that simply returns an object containing isCollapsed column true. Why? Because Sharethis, I checked in their JavaScript code, calls that function and checks if the isCollapsed property is set to true. If it is, it stops the clipboard poisoning. Other websites like that maybe won't perform that check, but they will end up simply with an error when they try to call a legit function of the selection object. Then the function is injected in the body/header/document and it will be automatically executed. A question you may ask is, if JavaScript allows to override almost every function, why didn't you override the addEventListener function to simply do nothing when the event is copy/cut/paste? The answer is pretty simple. An user script is executed at a non-easily predictable time. This means that the Sharethis JavaScript code can be loaded before the user script, and it won't do anything. Instead, by just overriding the window.getSelection function, there won't be any problem since that function is called only when a copy is performed. And we are 100% sure that when you copy a text, the user script has already been loaded. Conclusion. The best and cleanest solution is obviously the first one, since it disables a practically useless API. The second one is valid too, but you will lose any of the Sharethis functionality. The third one is the most hacky one, but as a last resort it could work.
These odious actions can be blocked on Chrome with the Kill Evil extension. This URL. This extension appears to cause weird issues on Facebook, so be sure to whitelist it.
On Chromium I had success with absolute enable right-click and AMP, copy extension. Having installed it, you can add your user list of sites where the extension is enabled in the preferences. Or, when you are on a particular page and see that it tampers with your clipboard, you can enable this extension on the fly via its toolbar button. This automatically adds the site to your list.
If you are looking for a way to automatically modify the HTML before it is displayed, then GreaseMonkey is the tool, and you would need to create a user script that does the modification. From the article Beginner Guide for GreaseMonkey Scripts in Google Chrome. Chrome now natively supports user scripts. You don't have to install an extra extension to use them. In fact, Chrome treats each user script as an individual add-on so you can easily manage and remove them. There is a lot of information about GreaseMonkey to be found on the internet, including many tutorials. Most of them would be for Firefox, where GreaseMonkey originated, but they also apply today to Chrome. As the site responsible for the read more is Sharethis.com. If you block it, this should stop. If you have an installed security suite, use it to block the site. Otherwise you can block it using your host's file. Sharethis.com is the provider that supplies Tynt to the two websites you gave me. Tynt looks to be rather a technology than a website, so there may of course be other such providers, but one has to hope that they would be rather rare.
If you want me to help you, please consider subscribing.